This has probably been one of the biggest changes ever in my life, but it was just so exciting, and yeah, I was just really happy to walk into this new chapter, you know? I haven't filmed in a while, so I kind of don't know what to say at the start of the video, but anyway. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. I haven't filmed in a while, okay? This is the first time I'm sitting down in front of a camera and properly talking to you guys in like our new apartment in London, our new home. It's crazy. Life has just been honestly so busy. Like, I just don't know where to start with you guys. As promised in my last video, which was the official moving out vlog, I said to you guys I'd film a life update next because it was needed. I'm so sorry the lighting is kind of gonna change. As always, I rely on natural lighting when I'm filming my videos. But yeah, I was gonna film this Q&A before I actually moved out, but life happened, life got in the way, I didn't manage to do it. So now I am revisiting all the questions that you guys sent me on Instagram. I have my iPad here. I organized all of your questions from Instagram and sort of numbered them according to what makes most sense. The majority of these questions were about moving out, which is not surprising. I hope you enjoy this video. If you are new around here, my name is Holly. I just vlog my life and my life learnings on this channel. I have been doing for years now, and yeah, I just moved out, which is a huge change, but there's been other stuff happening in life. Number one, I like to start these videos with the question, how are you? Often you guys will ask me that, which is super nice and thoughtful, and I guess it's an opportunity for me to reflect. But right now, in this present moment, it's coming up to lunchtime, it's a Friday, I'm feeling really good, it's sunny, we're coming up to summer, so yeah, life is good, life is really great. That's not to say it hasn't been easy. There's definitely been stressful times, busy times, and yeah, a lot going on, but generally I am super happy. I feel more and more settled every day living here in London in our new home, and yeah, it's actually currently just me in the apartment right now because Angela is working in the office today. But yeah, I'm feeling good, you guys, so thank you for asking, as always. The next question is, are you scared to miss your life at home? Like, there's no going back to this life. When I read that question, I was like, that is genuinely quite scary, and I guess it never really crossed my mind that much during the move out process, because there was just so much else going on, like having to focus on the numbers, the documents, the solicitor's stuff, and all of the adulting things and the responsibilities that you have to take on when you buy a place. It's just a lot, so that never really crossed my mind. But I guess, you know, I did think about it slightly, but I just saw it as like a brand new chapter. And in the past, I was always really scared of change in life. I remember crying at the thought of leaving home to go to university and start at Cambridge. Like, I was genuinely so nervous and anxious about that change. But now I welcome change into my life, because I know that every new chapter is an opportunity to grow and to learn something and to step into new responsibilities. And yeah, you know, there's the saying that the only constant thing in life is change, and the more you can embrace that and the more you can embrace discomfort, the more you'll learn about yourself and the more you'll just evolve and change, and that's a normal part of life and being a human being. This has probably been one of the biggest changes ever in my life, but it was just so exciting, and yeah, I was just really happy to walk into this new chapter, you know? Number three, how do you begin searching for places to live? I'm thinking to buy but don't know how to view a house. I live in London. Angela and I were both born and raised in London, so I kind of speak from a UK perspective, and I feel like I will film a whole separate video about looking for properties, particularly in London, and how we went about doing it, the whole move process, the buying process. If you guys would be interested in that, definitely let me know in the comments or like this video and I can make that. But my best piece of advice would be to, number one, get your numbers in check, to know your numbers, your finances, all of that sort of stuff. So your income, expenses, savings, financial goals for the future. And number two, we primarily used Rightmove. It was like so addictive, I'm not gonna lie. When you start searching and going down rabbit holes on Rightmove, like it was really fun. That was the most exciting part of the buying process, like looking at properties, going to view them. You know, often you'll be disappointed, but Rightmove is where it's at, okay? So those are my top two pieces of advice right now, but as I said, I'll probably make a whole other video for you guys. We are flying through these questions. I do have a lot. Where's number 4 on my list? Okay, are you ready to become a city girl is the next question. Do you think you'll struggle? Do you think you'll struggle not having nature? This is another really great question because for the whole of my life, well, the majority of my life, I've lived in the countryside. Before I started this YouTube channel, like way back when I was a child and like in my early teens, my family, like we lived in London technically, but like the outskirts of London, like Greater London, I guess you'd say. And then we moved to the countryside, and that's where I've lived the majority of my life. But now, obviously, I've moved back to London. Fun fact, by the way, I was actually born in London. So I am a Londoner at heart, and it's kind of like a full circle moment for me. But yeah, it's different. There are definitely green spaces in London, like lots of parks and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a different vibe. Like there's always stuff going on. Where I used to live at home, the streets were like pitch black at night. Nobody was out except like the foxes or like badgers and stuff like that. You can always find a supermarket, a shop open, whereas that wasn't the case at home. It's just like a faster pace and a different type of lifestyle. But the more I've kind of traveled and seen different places in the world, the more I've grown to love cities. That's not to say I don't love nature anymore, I still do, but I was welcoming this change and embracing this city life. That's not to say we'll always live in the city, but you know, for now we love London, and this is the London chapter. Okay, number 5, how long did it take you to find an apartment? So we were searching for a bit over a year. We put a few offers down on properties, but this is the only one that went through officially, obviously, because we are here living in the apartment. But yeah, just over a year, I would say. So in London, things typically move faster than like anywhere else in the UK, unless you're in other cities. But like, for example, my sister and Dan, her boyfriend, are looking to buy a place as well, and their search has been going on for a really long time now, just because the market doesn't move as quickly. And I guess they're looking for something very specific, but I don't know, like a fair amount of time. But in the grand scheme of things, like a year isn't very long at all. Some people will be looking for years. Like I remember when my parents were looking for a new house, every weekend we would be dragged in the car. I'm not saying literally dragged. We would look at houses every single weekend, drive for hours, always have picnics on the road, and it took them ages as well to find a house, whereas I feel like we did it kind of quickly. I don't really know. Excuse me. Okay, question number 6. Remember, these questions were sent to me from you guys on Instagram before we moved out. That's why they're kind of phrased in this way. But anyway, what are you most looking forward to after the move? There were tons of things I was so excited about. I think the first thing was just like having our own space and just being able to design routines, like daily routines, weekly routines from scratch. And that's not to say I didn't enjoy living at home, but the thing I used to tell my parents, because you know, often they'd be like, why don't you want to live at home anymore? And it wasn't like that. It was just the fact that, you know, part of growing up means that you just want your own space. This is a hard one to, I guess, frame without offending my parents if they are watching this video, and it's not supposed to offend them. It's just part of growing up, and I always used to try and explain this to them. And I kind of also thought, you know, they went through this too, so why can't they kind of empathize with my feelings? But at some point in your life, you will feel like you want your own space, full control of your time and autonomy and responsibilities and stuff like that. I know that I want to hold on to being a child at heart throughout my whole life, like that sense of fun and play and excitement and stuff. Ever since moving out to uni, ironically, I was so scared at the start, but like I grew to love living in my own little room at uni at Cambridge, and ever since then I've had this urge to want more of my own space and control over my time and stuff like that. And so yeah, it took years before I actually moved out. Deep down, and I've said this before, I kind of knew I wanted to do it with someone. I think just, yeah, our own space and building our own routines. For example, like we now do meal prep every Sunday, and we couldn't do that before because we didn't have, like, you know, all of the Tupperware and equipment and whatever, but like it just never seemed to fit in our schedules because, you know, we both lived still with our own families, so we couldn't necessarily do all of those things that we wanted to. So yeah, I think that was what we were most looking forward to, and just being able to live together like officially was super exciting. It's getting really warm in here, you guys. My hair is also like really hot because I'm obviously brunette and I'm wearing a black top, which is classic. Doesn't really help with me not feeling warm. Question 9. Okay. Will you adopt a pet when you move out? Right now, as sad as this answer may be, the answer is no. Just because like we have to learn first and foremost to look after ourselves and to take care of all of the responsibilities that are new to us. Paying bills, doing everything for ourselves, going to the shops. I'm not saying we didn't do any of this before and we didn't pay any bills before, but like now it's totally in our control, and we still obviously want to travel and see the world and have freedom and flexibility. I'm not saying pets don't allow you to do that, but it just comes with more responsibility and more money, yes, and stuff like that. So, you know, never say never, but right now, no. And also, obviously, I need to go home still and see Milka and Bali and Java, who are family pets. That question came up so many times, but yeah, that is the answer right now. Where are we? 9? 10. Where is my question 10? Okay, this question I chose as a nice little segue between the moving out, new house questions and running related stuff, because since moving out, I have run 2 marathons, both London and Copenhagen. So I'm gonna get onto those. Do you think finding routes for marathon training will be trickier in London? Honestly, no. Before Angelo and I moved out, just for some context, sorry, I'm sat here with a blanket. Okay, let me just reposition my bum. Before Angela and I actually moved out, I would go to London every other week and then he would come to mine every other week, so we would alternate. And whenever I was in London, I always used to find running so much easier, especially in terms of finding new routes and different routes. At home, I would have like 2 routes I would do all the time, okay? All the time, I'm not even joking. Here in London, for example, you can run anywhere along the Thames, which is the Thames Path. You can go to any of the parks in London, or you can just run around the roads, which typically are kind of busy in the city, but like the parks are amazing. Yeah, it's actually easier here in London. The only thing is it's fairly flat. We do have some hills around where we are, but typically London is flatter than where I used to live, so, you know, we maybe don't get as much hill training in. Well, that is kind of a lie. The one park that we go to most often has a massive hill. So yeah, it's easier, it's not difficult. And being able to marathon train, like my longest training run was 38k. Being able to do that around one park, just going round and round and round, sounds really boring, but it actually worked so well. Where is question 11? Okay. Are you able to relax with so much going on in your life right now? How? Question mark. So yeah, I feel like I'm gonna dodge this question first of all, at least, and just kind of explain why life has been so stressful recently. Obviously we moved out, but then as I was moving out, and as I'll come on to later in the video, I took up a new writing role. My sort of work has changed. Then I had like 3 weeks left until London Marathon. After London Marathon, spontaneously, I decided to run Copenhagen with Angelo, so we flew out there and both ran the marathon. At the same time, we've been trying to get stuff for the flat, buy furniture, decorate things, organize this, set up direct debits for bills, pay the mortgage, settle into a new routine. Just the other week, like the other day, Angelo and I went home to see my family for the first time. So maybe that doesn't sound like a lot, but it was just kind of so much going on at the same time. Not just like in terms of physical stuff to do, but like the mental side of things as well. You often neglect and forget about, but like adjusting mentally and then thinking about running 42 kilometers for the marathon and then doing that twice, like it was a lot. On top of having this new writing role. So yeah, in terms of how, like I tend to get through stressful times or busy times because I try not to see it as stress these days. Like I can notice when I get stressed, I'll have the same symptoms, like I pick my nails. I know that's kind of grim, but I do that. I get nosebleeds when I'm stressed. I will start overthinking, I will start ruminating, I will like think of a negative thought and then I will spiral sometimes if I don't catch myself because I'm overthinking and making stories up in my head. I think that kind of comes from like having OCD. I've never been formally diagnosed, but I feel like I have lived and grown up with OCD. When I'm stressed, I notice all of those symptoms, and you know, the best way to help with that is to talk to people. So obviously having Angelo right by my side is amazing because we are so open and honest with each other, and whenever I am struggling, I will just talk to him about it and it really helps. Yeah, I feel like how I then try and get through it is, yes, with the communication, but also by just taking one day at a time. So when I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, this week I've got X, and then the next week I've got Y and Z, and then after that I've got all of these other things, instead of getting too far ahead, I just think in terms of one day at a time and focus on the small and steady progress I'm making every day, because if I focus on that, then I know that over time I will be closer to where I want to be, and I will have got through the hard times just by focusing on the small steps instead of getting overwhelmed by the bigger picture, which is so easy to do. But living in the moment and just taking each day one at a time, I think, is the best piece of advice I can give for people struggling with busyness and stress. Obviously being organized and stuff like that really helps as well, but for me, I just focus on one day at a time. And it's the same with marathons, which is a great segue because my battery is dying and I kind of want to get onto the marathons that I ran recently, just give you guys a little bit of an update because I haven't done that on the channel yet in long form. Anyway, we need to go change the battery. Okay, it is definitely getting warm now in the flat. If you guys follow me on Instagram, or you've like followed my short form kind of stuff, which I've been posting more regularly over the past few weeks because of the busyness of life, as we've just been talking about. I ran both London Marathon and then Copenhagen Marathon 2 weeks later. So that was not the original plan. Originally, I was just going to run London because I got a place through the ballot like 2 years ago, but then a year ago, and then I deferred it or something like this. I got this place through the ballot. I don't know how, even though I've run it twice before. My plan originally was to run London in April, at the end of April, and then 2 weeks later, Angelo and I would both fly out to Copenhagen and Angelo would run Copenhagen because he didn't get into London, essentially. That was the plan. We both had our marathons and Angelo was just gonna run his 2 weeks later. So we were basically pretty much in sync for most of our training. We did our longest runs at slightly different times. But yeah, let's first focus on London. This was my third time running the race. This was my favorite time for sure. Like the first time I ran London, I was so naive going into it because I'd never run a marathon before. I was like, this is gonna be so fun. And then obviously I hit the wall and it was super, super tough right at the end. A year later, so in 2022, I ran it again because I got a good frage place and then I set a PB. I got a 3:25 after getting a 3:37, by the way, the first time. And yeah, that was a huge win for me. I wanted a sub 3:30. It went a lot better, but I still did slow towards the end. And then this year I ran another PB, so I'm so happy with that. I got my medal, you guys. Third time running it. This medal is so nice, it's so weighty. And it has like London on the back. Yeah, I set a PB, I got 3:20.01. I wanted sub 3:20. So I basically did it. It's just, I knew that I was gonna be so close, like right at the end, when I was running down and then like I was hitting the mile and I was like, oh my god, I literally have like 30 seconds to get there. Sprinted for my life. Never been able to sprint before, so that was actually so good. And yeah, 1 second out, but you know, I'm proud of that. It's a big PB. And I feel like sometimes we forget to celebrate the win and we just quickly move on to the next thing, but like this is another opportunity for me to think back to London Marathon that just went. But like I was so happy with the way I ran that race, because even though it was super hot on the day and it was sunny, so the conditions weren't ideal, I had so much fun on that course. Like the most fun I've ever had running a race. Like the first 25 kilometers, so up to Tower Bridge pretty much and a bit beyond that, which was the halfway mark, I was loving life. I'd never felt that good running ever before. I saw dad, I saw mum, I was seeing Angelo, and Dan, who'd all come to spectate and stuff. The vibes were incredible because London is so good, like the best marathon I think in the world, especially when it comes to like vibes and spectators and stuff like that. Obviously I did struggle, yes, a bit, like 30 to 37k. My GPS was being thrown off in Canary Wharf. I didn't look at my watch during that time, so I was kind of slowing down a little bit, but then I picked it back up towards the end and like the final stretch along the Thames to the Buckingham Palace area, the finish line, and it was just such a great day. And I was really, really happy because yes, I think the heat did get to me, the GPS, a slight bonk, but my best ever marathon performance for sure, and a PB. But yeah, on to Copenhagen. I just spontaneously was like, you know, we're both flying out to Copenhagen, why don't I just run it? I was like, yeah, I can maybe go for another PB if I feel like it. But deep down, I knew that that was not going to be the case, because running a second marathon with just 2 weeks of recovery is gonna be tough for anyone. Like whether you're an elite athlete, which I'm not, or an amateur, like it's gonna be hard. But yeah, I got a place because they have this like resale process, and I got the place on the day that I applied. In those 2 weeks, I was just kind of like trying to let my body recover. I wasn't doing any like super long runs or training sessions. I was just gonna recover, focus on recovering basically. And yeah, the race in Copenhagen was probably like the best course for a marathon. It was super flat. There were quite a few turns, yeah, but the weather wasn't as hot as London. It wasn't as sunny. They had paces. The vibes were also great. Definitely not as good as London, but still a lot of people watching and supporting. But yeah, I ran a 3:29. Specifically, I can't remember the exact time, but I'll put it on the screen for you guys. A 3:29. I was on track for a 3:20, so the same time as London at halfway. But I knew that if the second half was going to feel anything like the first, I was not going to do it, because the first half was already difficult. By 25k, I was starting to struggle, and the pace was starting to feel a lot harder than London. And obviously the second half of a marathon is always harder mentally and physically. So I was like, I don't really think this is going to go too well. I was following the 3:20 paces for a while. My hips started to really hurt, and they were so painful. Obviously, running is a lot of this parallel motion. And because I just run London 2 weeks before, my hips were obviously just still not happy, and they weren't still fully recovered. So I started to get pain in my hips, just not like an injury pain, but like the repetitive motion was just giving me a lot of like ache and tightness. And so I slowed down. I really did slow down. If you look at my pace chart on like Strava or my Chorus watch, I fell off a cliff. I really did. I kept stopping at every water station, because at London they give you water in bottles, which is amazing, and you can just grab it and go and drink when you're running. When they give it to you in cups like in Copenhagen, I'm sorry, how the hell are you supposed to drink? Yes, there is the technique to like fold it in and then drink it, but like I am thirsty when I'm running marathons, and when it's warm and kind of sunny, like I need a lot of water. Like I get super thirsty, so I had to stop, pick up a cup, grab another cup, maybe a third one, and down the water, try and like loosen my hip, and then get running again. So it was getting harder and harder. The last 10k was so tough. Like I really had to dig deep. But yeah, I finished in a sub 3:30, which is still really good. And you know, in the second half of the race, I was just trying to, I would love to say enjoy it, but at that point I was kind of past enjoying it, because I was just trying to get through it at the end. The final 1k was really great. Loved that. Got my camera out and was filming at the end. But yeah, the rest of it was pretty tough. And in hindsight, I should have just run the whole thing for fun. I think I let my ego get the better of me, and I was like, maybe I can go for another PB. But realistically, 2 weeks is not enough time to recover. I learned the hard way, but I ran 2 marathons in 2 weeks. Would never do that again. It was just a little bit of fun. But we did explore the city afterwards and do a bunch of sightseeing. But yeah, I thought I would focus on the marathons in this video specifically. Where is the next question? Number 12, tips for a new 10k. What is that? I can't read that because I've covered it with my writing. Tips for a new 10k PB or something, or PR. Trying at the moment, but feels like I am stuck. I feel the exact same way, and the reason why I picked this question is because we are just starting a 10k training block right now. In September, we will be running a race in a different country, a 10k distance, and I feel you with the 10k struggles, okay? Anything below a half marathon, like half marathons and marathons, are kind of more suited to me. I feel like, I don't know why, I prefer running for longer and slightly slower. Faster paces like 10k and 5k, where you have to put the power down, you're at speed, I really struggle, okay? Angelo loves that stuff. I do not. Oh, by the way, Angelo did run Copenhagen as well. I will let him tell you about his story, because it was a big experiment and it didn't go well. But he got a 3:14 at Copenhagen, not what he wanted, but he got a massive stitch at like 30k or something, because we tried to carb load very heavily, and when I say Angelo went to town with the carb loading, he went to town and it backfired. So yeah, but anyway, 10k training right now. I am determined though to get a 10k as close to 40 minutes as possible. I feel like that is maybe slightly too ambitious. That Angelo says to aim high and then just see what happens. I think 10k is all about like power and strength. If you can really increase your speed and focus on speed work, so I'm focusing on all of VO2 max stuff and also my strength work at the gym, like I think you can't go wrong. But I also feel like the race itself for me, I don't know, mentally it's just so hard, because I always end up giving up a 7 to 8k even though I'm so close to the finish line. I don't know why I always do it, but I'm determined though to crack it. Question 13, what is your workout split and what are your fitness goals Right now, so we have a gym. We are lucky enough to have a gym in our apartment. It's very small and it doesn't have too much equipment. We are really ramping up our gym stuff right now because alongside 10K training, at the end of the year, we are hoping to do a high rocks. I'm not gonna lie you guys, like we are so excited about this high rocks training. Already it's so fun, like doing the rowing and this, what else do you do in high rocks? Well, there's tons of stuff, obviously running, the ski, the burpees, the wall balls, the farmer's carry, the lunges, all of this stuff. We are training for a mixed doubles high rocks at the end of the year. Hopefully we will get into the London one, which is at the XL Centre. But yeah, we're training for high rocks. So those are our fitness goals right now. And the season that we're calling this is the big engine season or something. Well, it is the big engine season. I put this on my Instagram the other day. We want to increase our VO2 maxes, get as strong as we ever can be, get the strongest we ever can be. That doesn't make sense. Be the strongest we ever have been. I guess that works. We're back on the creatine. We're upping our gym sessions. We want to build these huge engines because high rocks is essentially a running race with obstacles, is what I've heard. And I think that's accurate. You need to be able to run super fast, but you also need to be able to endure and be strong. So I feel like deep down, Angela and I can be really good at this, provided we train really hard and work really hard. But yeah, I think we are strong, we can run, and when we combine them, I think we can be really good, secretly. I don't know, it could all flop and we'll have to see, but yeah, we're training for high rocks is the news. And I should say, yes, we do have a gym in our apartment, but we are looking to find like high rocks specific gyms near us to train in. Number 14. I feel like this is the penultimate question. I picked one question for this because, as I said, I promised you guys I would talk about my writing situation. I did mention it briefly in the vlog, the Mimi Out vlog that came out just before this one. But yeah, what are you writing? I guess I missed that part. I feel like maybe a lot of you guys missed that, but at the same time, I didn't really explain what was going on. Yeah, just as we were moving out, I had this not job opportunity because I am entirely freelance and I work on my own terms. I am self-employed. My one client, I'm gonna say, and he is my client because I'm freelance for Ali, but I have Ali Abdal as one of my clients. As you guys know, I work for Ali, I work as part of his team. It's kind of like a part-time role, but I am freelance, and so he is technically a writing client for me. So I work behind the scenes on the channel on like writing scripts for YouTube, also writing emails, which I'm doing a lot more of these days. Love working with the team, and like the learning curve when I do stuff for Ali is like so steep. But yeah, I've also taken on a brand new writing client or a new client, and so I guess I'm just expanding my reach, and this client takes up then the rest of my time. So I work for Ali like 3 days a week, every week, on this sort of retainer type basis, but then I've taken on another client, and what I'm basically doing is I'm writing scripts for her YouTube channel. It is a her, I will say that. And I'm also working on like the YouTube strategy type stuff. So like titles, thumbnails, ideas, concepts, looking behind the scenes analytics. Obviously I grew my channel without like thinking too much about this stuff, but I do have a lot of experience now with working on Ali's channel and having my own channel. Like I know a lot about YouTube. I'm learning still a lot and I don't know everything and I don't have all the answers, but yeah, I'm technically a writer slash YouTube strategist right now for this second client. And then my editing and filming time is very limited, hence the sort of slowing down in content on my own channel. I'm trying to maintain like Instagram and stuff in short form on YouTube, or shorts, but it's really tough, okay? Especially when I'm trying to stay sane, trying to keep on top of, you know, like my personal life and my other goals, like with a love for fitness and stuff. And yeah, just having time to chill and relax and be with Angelo. So I keep my weekends entirely free and I do all of my writing during the week. You know, Parkinson's law says, you know, work expands to fill the time you give it. So yeah, when I did condense down my hours to like working 9 to 5 Monday through to Friday, sometimes it's 9 to 6 or like 8 to 6, sometimes it changes, but like if I give myself a fixed window of time to work within, I will get this stuff done. I do churn out a lot, I write a lot, I'm always basically at my desk just like typing frantically. If you ask Angelo, he will give you the best impression of me typing, which is kind of hilarious. I'm really enjoying the writing stuff. I am meeting new people, jumping on calls with different people. I'm not sure exactly where this is going to take me, but right now my focus is to be the best writer I possibly can be, to level up that skill, because I think it's a great skill to have. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it, but who knows what I will end up doing in the future. Obviously I still want to keep my channel and keep vlogging and documenting stuff for you guys, and yeah, having this video diary to always look back on one day. And I've always been that type of person with so many interests, I just don't know what to knuckle down on. But right now it's writing. I would definitely say that I'm someone who learns really quickly and learns fast. So I've been able to go from writing basically nothing since, you know, my uni days to writing every single day for a living, which is kind of crazy. Backtracking to school, like, I loved English and I loved writing, and I've just basically combined that with what I know about YouTube and kind of like science and personal development, and it's really cool, you know. But yeah, that's not to say I don't still have other goals and ambitions and things I want to do. I just feel like I'm never going to be satisfied, but right now that's what I'm doing. Question 15, this is the last one. I thought I would end on this one because I haven't spoken much about like Angela and I know that kind of gets portrayed and documented in vlogs more so, but favorite kind of date night, stay in or go out, is the final question. And I thought this was a great one to end on because Angela and I love just in the evenings, our favorite thing to do. I know it sounds kind of boring, but maybe it's not. To us, it's definitely not. We love to just walk to the shops, we stroll around the shops for a bit, we look at what we want to buy, we buy stuff for dinner, we get back, we make our food, we sit on our sofa slash bench type thing. Yeah, we sit here, we turn the TV on, we watch, currently we're watching Better Call Saul on Netflix because we watched Breaking Bad and it was so good, and that is the spin-off. But yeah, we watch Netflix, we watch some YouTube, we eat more food, and we just chat, we reflect on our days. We sometimes buy stuff, we look at stuff we can add to the flat and buy, and that is the perfect evening for us, or date night if you want to call it that. Yes, sometimes we'll go out and do special stuff, I'm not saying that, but those few hours are just so sacred for us and we love them. But yeah, those are all my questions for you guys. I feel like this video is probably going to be slightly on the longer side, but I'm not going to really cut it down too much because I just want you guys to, I don't know, I sat down for like, I don't know, maybe half an hour just talking to you guys, and I hope that I can keep most of that for this video so you can just really get a feel for what's going on right now in my life, in my head. And yeah, I guess I'll say goodbye right now. If you haven't seen my last moving out vlog, I will leave it on the screen at the end so you guys can go and watch that next, because yeah, I loved creating that video. I loved editing it and finally getting it out to you guys. So I will leave that on the screen. You can see exactly what happened, the full move out process, the 2 days we spent moving everything from our family homes to London and stuff. And yeah, I will say thank you for watching, and I'll leave you with the bloopers as always. Bye guys. We are back in action. It's gonna get warm really quickly in here because there's no windows open and it's like summer and the apartment is in EPCB. Oh, the TV just turned on. Questione. I feel like I want this cushion in. Sure. Marathons, 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 marathons. Wow, this is strange. You kind of can't see. Oh, that's because the screen is off. The first 10 minutes of every recording is me just like I don't have anything like